An object without a story has a very short lifespan. We can all tell stories about the many things we own, and this is especially true of pieces of jewelry. When I wear this pin I inherited from Aunt Betty, or when I wear this hedge apple necklace I made for my mother, or when I wear this mourning necklace that great-grandmother Gum wore, I can tell the stories of these pieces, of the women who wore them and the adventures they had, how the pieces came to me and what I think about them. They all have stories, and because they have stories, they live on. Their stories get told when they're worn, their stories get passed on when the jewelry gets passed on, and therefore these pieces of jewelry have a very long lifespan. Every piece of jewelry I make has a story to tell. This necklace was inspired by a story I wrote. Here's the story and a glimpse of how I created the necklace.
Standing in the center of spring, she wanted a do-over. Her life seemed dull. She was ready for a little excitement. She decided to make some changes, and what better time to do it than on March 21st, which, according to folklore, was the first day of spring. Changing from dull to exciting took some thinking. What would she consider exciting? She created a forced choice chart. She listed all her choices in a column on the left side of a large sheet of paper and rewrote them across the top of the page, creating a grid so she could compare each item to every other item. Hours later, she had compared item number 1 to item number 2, item number 1 to item number 3, item number 1 to item number 4, and on and on and on. You would think months of planning, a long list of ideas, and a spreadsheet of what to do when would leave no room for surprises. This was not true. March 21st arrived. She was prepared. She had done the hard work to orchestrate a do-over, and yet March 21st felt no different than March 20th. How was that possible? Spring was here, and everyone knew it was a metaphor for the start of better times. Exactly where were the much-anticipated better times? The asparagus had arrived, but not the better times. About 3 weeks later, she woke up anticipating another dull day, and, instead, found herself standing in the center of spring. It showed up all at once, no gradual approach. Maybe she just didn't notice, but it seemed overnight tendrils had wrapped themselves around everything they touched. Roots had turned to shoots, and black fields were dotted with green sprouts, row after row for miles. Having determinedly pushed their way from their seed homes through the earth to the air, the green-tipped plants were climbing towards the sky. Looking at all the flower buds, she could see herself dancing around a maypole with her friends many years ago. Flower wreaths on their heads, no shoes on their feet, each holding a color ribbon attached to the top of the pole. They danced around, intertwining the ribbons in a web around the pole. Retracing their steps, they unraveled the ribbons. And that is what she had been doing, unraveling the ribbons of her life to get rid of the dull and to find a more exciting time. She had sorted through the dull and was ready for excitement. She made a flower wreath, put it on her head, and standing there, surrounded by spring, she set off to dance around a maypole.